You in my seat, boy.
You in my seat now.
Is this seat taken?
How'd you know that? Get out of my seat, Snowface.
The movie opens with Tommy Riley, a young high school student whose life is turned upside down. Forced to move in with his father in a neighborhood where gangs rule, he now has to confront a very different reality.
It's a black game, home. Y'all don't want your whiteness shoving through my hoops. Yeah, f you too, Lincoln. Talk about a punk.
On Tommy's first day at his new high school, he enters his English class and quietly sits in an empty chair. However, a group of 3 bullies press him to move to a different seat. After doing it twice, Tommy refuses with a sarcastic remark.
I don't think that I can do that. No, you see, I've grown real attached to this seat.
You're a comedian, huh?
Leroy, take off that hat and sit down.
I'll get you on the greasy side.
During class, Tommy is surprisingly a bright student. He answers a question about Mark Twain's pseudonym when nobody else knows the answer, impressing his teacher. Recess arrives and Tommy heads to the courtyard for a smoke. A Latino student asks him for some cigarettes before a gang of black students approaches.
You carry a weapon?
The 3 bullies from earlier are part of this gang, led by a teen nicknamed Shortcut.
Well, he don't look like much.
I don't want any trouble.
Too bad, funny boy. See, Trouble be my middle name.
Fortunately, a rival gang comes to steal Shortcut's attention. The leader, Lincoln Haines, mockingly asks why Shortcut is here since he's been dropped out from the school.
I owe you what you did to Jerome.
Yeah, step in the ring with me, bitch. Fight like a real man. Stormtroopers hide behind a razor.
The fight is broken up by the school's teachers and security guards, who drag Shortcut out of school grounds. After his rather chaotic first day, Tommy returns home only for 2 debt collectors to threaten him to let them in the house. They're looking for Tommy's father because he's behind on his loan payments, totaling to $1,250 that needs to be paid off this week. His father hasn't been home for a while though, but he returns and wakes Tommy up in the morning. He shares good news about getting hired for a new job, but the caveat is that he needs to be away on a business trip for a month. Tommy says it's okay but tells his father about the debt collectors who threatened him last night. Tommy's father admits that he has accumulated some gambling debts after dealing with Tommy's mother's death a year ago. He apologizes for not being there while Tommy is grieving, then calls the loan shark to leave his son alone since he'll pay off his debts soon.
Okay, you take care.
One evening, Tommy visits a diner where his classmate Dawn is a waitress. Seeing that he's short on money, Dawn offers Tommy a job as a dishwasher since her family owns the diner. He takes the job, but while taking out the trash, Shortcut and his lackeys come to harass him. Tommy tries to stay out of a fight until he gets pushed around. Tommy holds a good fight against the thugs before they are separated by an old man named Pappy Jack. Jack yells at Shortcut because he can't be caught street fighting before his boxing match, so Shortcut leaves. Meanwhile, Jack introduces himself as a local boxing promoter to Tommy. He wants to recruit Tommy for a match tomorrow, since his other white boxer got injured. Tommy says he used to box in his old city, so Jack offers him $600 for the fight. However, Tommy refuses, saying he needs $1,250 to clear up his father's debt. After negotiating, Jack finally agrees. When Tommy shows up to the underground boxing arena the following evening, Jack introduces him to Noah, who will be his handler in the ring. Tommy questions their use of a weighted glove, but Jack laughs at him for thinking they care about rules. Noah tells Tommy that this match is going to be like war, and nobody will care about justice. While preparing for the fight, he runs into the Latino boy from his school, Romano. Romano urges Tommy to warm up together with him by dancing. He also warns Tommy about his opponent, Black Death, telling Tommy to watch for his strong right fist. Finally, Tommy's first match in the arena begins. As the newcomer, most people are betting against Black Death, which is the current crowd champion.
You know the rules. All right, now touch gloves and come out fighting.
Black Death doesn't play fair, as indicated by Jack and Noah earlier, despite the referee not penalizing him for fighting dirty.
1, 2.
Eventually, Tommy manages to land blows on Black Death. Tommy wins the fight with a double knockout. Watching the match is Jack's boss, Mr. Horn, who seems impressed by Tommy. When Tommy asks for his payment,
So, where's my money?
Mr. Horn wants to pay you personally.
Who's Mr. Horn?
He is the power and the glory.
the next day, in the gym, Tommy witnesses Horn training another boxer, who gets mad and starts punching Horn. Horn plays along but eventually beats the guy in his own fight.
Hello.
You the boy I've been waiting for. Pappy Jack, take good care of this boy. Give him whatever he wants.
I just want the money that you owe me.
Of course, that. So now I'm invested in you, huh?
In his office, Horn expresses his interest in recruiting Tommy to be his next champion. Despite the lucrative offer, Tommy refuses, stating that he doesn't want to ruin his brain while fighting because he wants to go to college. He just wanted to be paid the $1,250 that he's owed. They let him go, but not for long.
Get him.
After his payment, he runs into Dawn, who is disappointed that he joined the underground fights. However, he reassures her that it was a one-time thing only. Unfortunately, that turns out to be wrong. Jack saw earlier Tommy paying off his father's debt to Sharky's men and called the loan shark to negotiate. Later, Tommy gets called back to Horn's office, where he explains to Tommy that his father accumulated $15,000 worth of gambling debt to Sharky. Horn had bought the loan, so now he wants Tommy to pay it back by fighting a few more matches. On his way home, Tommy sees Lincoln being ganged up by Shortcut's crew again. Lincoln is losing, so Tommy decides to help him out. They run away until they reach Tommy's apartment, where they're finally safe. There, Tommy asks why Lincoln wants to fight for Horn. Lincoln says that he's poor, and unlike Tommy, he can't go to college, so he has to rely on his fists to make it in life. Tommy tells him that he's also poor despite being white, which makes Lincoln drop his guard and show Tommy who he's actually fighting for. Later that night, Tommy watches Lincoln's fight. His new friend seems to be dominated by his much larger opponent. But in the end, Lincoln manages to quickly turn the tide and win the fight. After that, Tommy goes to Noah's house to ask him about Horn. Noah explains that Horn was a boxer, and he would have won the world light heavyweight title if it's not for his bad left foot. Unfortunately, he had an injury which required a lot of operations and recovery time. He was too old by the time he could enter the ring again. Then he realized that being a promoter could make him more money with less injuries. Days since Tommy signs up with Horn's team, Dawn visits his house when he's training. She's worried because he hasn't been coming to school. At first, Tommy is defensive, saying he doesn't have the time. Then, while taking her home, he opens up about his father's debts and mother's death. Dawn understands his circumstances, and they seem smitten with each other. Despite his reservations about fighting, Tommy's life seems to be looking up ever since. He wins fights, becomes Dawn's boyfriend, and becomes closer with Romano and Lincoln. He is worried about his friends who don't plan to quit boxing, but Romano argues that he'll be fine. Unfortunately, that night, Romano is scheduled to fight Shortcut. Romano is much better than Shortcut, and Shortcut knows this. So, he already prepared a nasty trick up his sleeve, literally. Before the 5th round, he gets his handler to drop some liquid on his glove sleeve before continuing the match. Inhaling the fumes causes Romano to lose his sight and become dizzy. Shortcut takes this chance to beat up Romano, despite him already being knocked out. Watching this, Tommy yells at the referee to stop the fight, but it keeps going. Eventually, the fight ends after Tommy forcefully rings the match bell, and Romano is fully unconscious and battered.
It don't pay to be your friend, huh?
He then asks the team's doctor where he is, and apparently he was sent to a hospital. Tommy took days calling every hospital in the area to find him, but only after Noah gives him a tip, he goes to the hospital for the poor and needy. There, Romano lays in a coma, using a ventilator just to breathe. In disbelief, Tommy tells him to wake up, but the patient next to Romano says that the doctors declared him brain dead from a gang fight. Obviously, that was a lie crafted by Horn. This angers and saddens Tommy, who wants to get revenge for his friend. Revenge comes swift, because soon after, Tommy is scheduled for a match against Shortcut.
I mean, he dead, ain't he?
Listen, anger is your enemy. That's what's gonna get you beat out there. Listen to me. It's like I told you. It's a mind game. Out thinking.
Shortcut knows that he's not good enough to beat Tommy, so he immediately puts the liquid on his glove before the match begins. Luckily, Tommy notices him doing this, and during the fight, he tries his best to avoid having his face pressed up to Shortcut's sleeve. After successfully avoiding the foul play, Tommy himself decides to dabble in some dirty tricks. He gives Shortcut a barrage of hard-hitting punches, certainly earning his victory.
Finish him! Finish him!
Tommy does the right thing and ends the match before Shortcut becomes irreparably injured. With the fight and half his revenge paid, he meets Lincoln outside the venue, who is accompanied by his wife, baby, and his family. Tommy tells Lincoln that Horn is a shrewd and evil man, but Lincoln already knows. During practice in the gym one day, everything seems to be going smoothly until Lincoln suddenly falls while he's sparring. The doctor gives him an examination and determines that he might be suffering from a brain bleed from being punched too hard in last week's match. The doctor says he'll be fine if he rests for 60 days, and Lincoln seems to accept this diagnosis and promises Tommy that he'll rest. However, when Tommy comes to the venue, he sees his opponent already fighting someone else. He asks Jack why the change in schedule, and Jack reveals that he'll be fighting with Lincoln, and the winner will get $20,000. Tommy is enraged. He confronts Lincoln, saying that he won't fight his friend because he doesn't want Lincoln to end up like Romano. Lincoln is determined to fight Tommy, though, because in addition to the cash prize, Horn also promised to make Lincoln a professional boxer if he wins this match. Once a shouting match ensues, Tommy realizes that he's going nowhere with Lincoln and decides to barge into Horn's office. He demands Horn to postpone the match because their own doctor ordered Lincoln to rest for 60 days. Horn says that the doctor was fired and that bleeds aren't a big issue from his long experience in boxing. Tommy doesn't care. He says he's not going to fight Lincoln, but there's nothing he can do when Horn's men won't let him out. Horn threatens to kill him unless he fights Lincoln. So with a heavy heart, Tommy prepares for the match. He doesn't know that, coincidentally, Dawn comes to watch him fight that night. Jack notices who she is and escorts him to come sit at the promoter's row alongside Horn and his wife. Entering the ring, Tommy is clearly unenthused, in opposition to Lincoln. The crowd goes wild because the two champions will finally be pitted against one another. The odds are placed, and everyone places their bets. When the first round begins, Lincoln begins his assault towards Tommy, but Tommy doesn't fight back. Instead, he only dodges Lincoln's punches, despite his friend yelling at him to fight.
What the hell is this?
The crowd is disappointed by the lackluster fight, booing and throwing stuff at the ring. Horn and Jack are also upset that Tommy won't fight properly. So, during a break, Jack tells him to look at Horn's seat. Horn has Dawn wrapped around his arms, threatening her safety if he doesn't fight properly and win. With this threat, Tommy decides to fight back, but only ever hits Lincoln's body. He purposely misses Lincoln's head to avoid aggravating his brain bleed. Tommy persuades Lincoln to end the match, stating that Horn doesn't care if either of them dies because he just wants the audience's money.
If I lose, Horn's gonna hurt my girlfriend, but I'm still not gonna hit you in the head.
When his persuasion fails yet again, Tommy gives up and tells Lincoln that he'd have to kill Tommy if he wants the match to end, because Dawn is in danger otherwise. Lincoln clearly hesitates to kill his friend, the boy who has saved his life once before. After a lengthy consideration, Lincoln forfeits the match in frustration. If the audience is upset, then Horn is furious. He orders Lincoln to get back in the ring and finish Tommy off, but Lincoln refuses and even quits the team. Enraged, Horn hits Lincoln so hard that he flies off the ring, rendering him unconscious. Seeing his friend hurt again, Tommy steps back in the ring and challenges Horn to a match. If he wins, he's freed from his debts to Horn and will quit fighting. If Horn wins, Tommy will be his to use as he likes. Horn agrees to the match. While preparing, Tommy sees that Horn doesn't have gloves on, so he tells Noah to get rid of his own. This turns out to be a disadvantage for Tommy because he keeps hurting his hand trying to punch Horn, who uses the hardtop of his head. Horn is clearly a more experienced fighter than Tommy. With Tommy's right hand injured, he gets the beating of his life.
Something, huh? Stay away, kid. Move.
Horn also tries to provoke Tommy's anger, but Noah reminds him to focus. Halfway through the match, it's Tommy's turn to evoke Horn's anger. Horn falls for it, fighting more sloppily so Tommy can land a few punches.
Can't beat a kid with one arm? Get him, Gus!
He wins the match with a knockout, and the crowd goes wild once again. He is freed from Horn's grasp,